Hi everybody! In today's video I'm going to be painting a miniature portrait to go on the wall of my Tudor doll's house. It is a grey and wet and windy day, so no better day to stay inside and do some painting. So grab a nice hot drink and I hope you enjoy the video. So I'm going to be working in acrylic today. My favourite paint to use is actually oil paint, but it takes forever to dry, so I'm going to use some acrylic. So I'll grab some water, get all set up and get ready to go. I'm going to use a piece of card from my recycling as a palette. I tend to not use a proper palette because just using a piece of card from the recycling saves on washing up. And I'm actually using a darker piece of card today because the background of my paintings are going to be dark, and I thought it might be helpful for the colour mixing to see what the colours look like against a dark background. So I am just drawing around my two little frames. I got the two frames from the York Dollhouse fair about a year ago, so not the one that I went to most recently, but the first one that I went to. There is a video up on my YouTube channel. I'll try and pop the link at the top if you want to watch it. So I am just drawing around the outside and the inside so that I know where I need to put the composition of my painting in the middle, and also so that I can see where I need to paint up to make sure that there's no white paper left. The paper that I'm using is actually like a watercolour paper, but it is very thick and it won't crinkle. I've used it before for acrylic. I don't know exactly what paper it is because I got it years and years and years ago from the scrap store. I have a big pile of it which I use for Christmas cards, birthday cards, paintings, all sorts. So today I will be painting a portrait of Ratty. So if you've watched my last video, my mum made me Ratty and Mole from Wind in the Willows as little characters to go into my doll's house. She used the patterns from the Cynthia Tree and Wind in the Willows book, and they are absolutely adorable. She designed their own costumes so that they've got little Tudor outfits on, and I thought it would be perfect to do a portrait of each of them to go up on the wall of the doll's house. So I am planning on doing my painting in the style of the artist Hans Holbein. I've actually recorded this clip several times because I really struggle to say his name, so I'm very proud of myself. I think I got it right there. Hans Holbein the Younger. Okay, oh, my cat's just arrived, so if you hear any purring or meows, that is why. So it is time to start colour mixing now, ready to paint my portrait. Colour mixing is actually one of my weaknesses when it comes to painting. I really enjoy painting, but I sometimes rush this stage, and I would like to develop my knowledge around colour and colour mixing. It is something that I would like to study a little bit further. I understand the concept of mixing colours and, you know, the primary, secondary and tertiary colours, but I would like to understand a bit more about the different types of red, the different types of blue, and how they affect the secondary and tertiary colours that you can mix up. So when I have a little bit more time, that is maybe something that I will look a bit further into. Something else that affects my painting is the fact that I'm sometimes reluctant to actually use much paint because I don't want to waste it, and this can have an effect on the colours that I make, because sometimes if I don't get the colour quite right, I don't want to waste paint, so I just use the colour instead of making up more. I've always been a bit like that. I remember when I was a child and I had a sticker book and I didn't use any of the stickers because I didn't want to waste them, even though the whole point of a sticker book is to use the stickers. But there we go. Anyway, for Ratty's face I used a lilac-y brown because his face is got quite a purpley tone to it. The little characters are made out of felt, and it's like a grey browny lilac-y colour for his fur. And for the white of his outfit, I didn't just use pure white, because obviously it's got shadows coming from it. It's catching the light of his fur and his jacket. I painted the background in a dark colour, and I tried to put slightly light colours around to one side of him as if the light was catching him from the right hand side. left my little portrait to dry, it was time to fit it into its frame. So I drew around the frame again just to make sure that I had the picture sitting in exactly the position that I wanted it in. I did realise that I think maybe I've painted the portrait a little too close up because it's filling the frame so much that I actually think it's going to chop a little bit of his feather off the top or a little bit of his jacket off the bottom. So when I paint my picture of Mole, I will make sure that I do him a little bit smaller with a little bit more background. So as you can see, the back of the frame has a little indent where the picture sits inside, and I'm just going to have to trim this down a little bit so that it can slot inside nice and comfortably because it's a bit too big. So I'm just carefully making a mark to show where I need to cut. Before making these cuts, I did think carefully about the composition, and I did decide that the best way to do it was to trim a little bit off the top of his hat and a little bit off the bottom of his jacket. There we go. Now, to fill the depth of the frame at the back, I do just need a bit of card. So I'm going to pop this out and use it as a template, and I'm just going to use a piece of card from some packaging from a Christmas present. Does anybody else just cut by looking instead of measuring, or is that just me? I got away with it, it fit perfectly. Phew! Now then, before popping the back on, I decided to write a little message to say when I painted this and who painted it, because I like to think that in years to come, my doll's house might end up in the hands of somebody else who hopefully won't be overhauling it in the same way that I've done, but who would hopefully treasure it. And I like to think that they might discover that little message just to find out a little bit of the history of the doll's house. So I've signed it as well because, you know, it's a painting. They need to be signed. And I was nice and neat and careful as I used some masking tape to tape onto the back just like you would with a real painting with some gummy brown paper. So I did this carefully because I felt like the back was just as important as the front. I know it won't be seen when it's hung up, but I don't know. I wanted it to be nice and neat on the back too. And there we go, a miniature portrait of Ratty for my doll's house. I need your help now because I can't make a decision on where he should hang. So my options are to have him on the left side of the deer with Mole on the right, or to hang him on the gallery wall at the back, which is the wall that you see right ahead of you when you open the doll's house door. Now, my options are affected by my choice of the other paintings that are going to hang with this one. So the gallery wall at the back has 3 panels. I only have this picture of Ratty, and then I'm going to do Mole as well. So I could do those 2 and then maybe make a coat of arms to go in the middle. Or I could make a third frame by using some putty. It's not something I've done before, but I could use the frame as a mould to try and make another one. Then if I had 3 frames, I would need 3 paintings to go in them. And at the moment, I only have Ratty and Mole to paint. So I would need a third character. Mum, it's my birthday soon. A third character would be just wonderful. No pressure. If I put the paintings on this wall next to the deer, Mole wouldn't be as visible at the back here. Let me know what you think, because I can't really do my painting of Mole until I've decided if I need to use my frame that's spare to try and create a third frame. Oh, I'm in a conundrum, I just don't know what to do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really like my painting. If you've enjoyed the video and you don't subscribe, please do subscribe, and please leave a comment because I read them all. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely day.